guys, welcome to episode 47 of Vibrant Life. I'm Jessica Parker. I'm a holistic health coach with a master's in health psychology, as well as a fitness instructor. So today we're talking about how to be on different sides, but the same team. It has been a minute since I've been on here. I was just noticing my last episode was almost 2 months ago, and there is a reason for that. I've had some life changes, and moving was part of that, which even though it was good, moving sucks. And I think that everybody would agree. And then it also, once you get the move done, which that takes a lot of time and energy, then you're in this new place and you have to figure out your space, figure out your new everything and your new groove. And it just takes a minute. So that was a piece of it. But honestly, another piece of it is that and it really relates to kind of the message in general that I want to talk about is I feel kind of pulled in two different directions all the time in terms of both professionally and personally. For example, and I'm just gonna, say it, there are some maybe controversial things that I'll talk about, but, in my life, I have voted on both sides. I have, maybe at times considered myself more moderate, maybe having some different views on both sides, where I could identify with both sides. And so I personally, I like to be able to have conversations and relationships with people, no matter what you believe, right? It's harder than ever. I mean, I laugh because it's freaking insane, and I have some very dear people in my life that, we identify politically quite differently, but then when we talk, holy crap, it's we are on the same team. So really part of why I wanted to have this conversation, with myself to you, is because I'm tired of that. And I really do. And you can call some of what I say conspiracy theory if you want. I do not care. I don't care. What is that thing people say? With the conspiracy theory, just wait 6 months and then it's true, whatever, however that goes. I'm butchering it. But honestly, there's a lot going on that I don't think anybody ever would have thought could happen or would happen. So with that being said, I really do believe that, quote, they want us all on different sides attacking one another. I really believe that, whether it's just people who are trying to profit off of us, whether it's people who are trying to pit us against one another for political reasons, and so that they get one side a little heavier than the other, or whatever. But I'm done with that. I'm not going to be a pawn. And I don't believe that I am. Personally, I feel very confident and strong about the fact that I do my own research. I do not feel like I'm pulled in one direction because of the stuff you see in the media, commercials, blah, 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 because I don't watch that crap. I just don't. And I really would encourage you not to either. It makes me ill to see people who, I envision people with those little swirly eyes, basically, who are just mesmerized and in a trance and just kind of repeating what they hear. And it's freaking bizarre, to be honest with you. And I'm follow my voice. Step away from that. I don't care what direction you're coming from. Just step away from that. Turn off the TV. So with that being said, I will I'll give an example. I live in Oregon, and I do feel like we just had a pretty significant election for governor. I really, really believe that the Drazen, she was the conservative, the Republican runner, would have been good for everybody. And she was not my first pick. I did not actually really like her that much, to be honest with you. But I am willing to say this is a person that I think would be great for both sides. The problem is that we have this side over here and this side over here, picking specific topics, and they're sensationalized by the people who are in charge of all these, the elections and the media and all the things, and the ones trying to get us to be against each other, and they're distracting us, right? I really believe that. And so I heard, some people who are like, she's not conservative enough. And then I heard the people who, especially, this was the big topic that was just spewed all over the place, having to do with abortion. And they said, she would ban it. Well, that was a bunch of bullshit. It was not true. I mean, it was such a game, to where the conservatives could be like, well, she's not strict enough on it. And then the liberals could be like, oh my God, she's going to take away women's rights. And you guys, none of that was true. I mean, for one, with the whole, and I'm not going to like get really, really into this, but just the Roe v. Wade thing, it did take it back to the states, and so I think some people are freaking out about, way too much over something that is going to go back to the states now, as it should have been the whole time. So there's that. But then in Oregon, regardless of where you are on that topic, and do not talk to me about it because I'm not going to talk to you about it. My one thing is that I don't think a lot of people understand that we are a full-term state. So you can, up until the point where you are about to give birth, you can have an abortion. So I think a lot of people who even agree with that right, or to have that right, in general, wouldn't agree with that. And I don't think a lot of people know that. And then on the other side, I don't think people were paying attention to like what Drazen in particular was saying and her stance on the topic. I never heard or saw anything from her that said, I am going to ban it point blank, ever. And of course, when you're a politician and you're running for some kind of office, you do have to be careful so that you don't just like turn off an entire like group of people. They don't hardly ever say like point blank, this is what I'm doing. They just give you kind of general information. I do not believe she would ever have done that. But the point of me bringing all that up is that people got so stuck on that crap that we voted in somebody who is like way worse than the one we already had. And I think everybody knows that. I don't understand it. Like Portland is going to crap. Homelessness is through the roof. The crime rate is through the roof. Then we have like Measure 114 having to do with gun rights. I feel like I should be careful with what I say here to not be censored, but whatever. That's a whole nother Dr. Phil show. Anyway, with gun rights, people are so swayed emotionally, and I am a gun owner. And when my son was little, I had somebody try to break into my house at 2 a.m, and it was just him and I was a single mom. I didn't have a dog, let alone a gun. And you will never convince me that to not have that right, that against that right for myself. You will never sway me in another way. I wish that I had had one. I didn't have anything then, and it was the scariest thing I have ever gone through. I am thankful to God that the police, there was a patrol car by my house, just happened to be, right? And again, I'm so thankful because I don't believe that was just luck. I lived in an old house with huge windows. It was a really cute house built in 1900 that my friend had kind of remodeled on the inside, and it was super cute. And I laughed because it was so cute, and it was like the scariest thing that ever happened to me. But there was a really cool old porch, and I just happened to wake up. I'm a light sleeper, and I thought I heard one of my cats out in the living room, and nope, it was somebody trying to get into my house, and they started at the far window, and they were like being careful and quiet, and then they moved to the next one. So I'm watching the silhouette of this man try to get into my house, and I'm like close to the door. My son is in this next room sleeping. I have nothing to protect myself. I don't know if he has a gun. I don't know if he has and I don't know what his intentions are. Anyway, obviously, I live to talk about it. The police showed up, got him. I did have a friend argue with me at one point. Well, I would send my husband to sleep on your couch. I'm sorry. A, that's effing weird. And B, I shouldn't have to rely on somebody's husband to sleep on my couch for me to feel safe, right? Just recently in one of the towns close to me, a man entered into a woman's home. Her house was locked. She had cameras. He entered in and said, "I am going to rape and murder you." I saw a picture. There was blood everywhere. And I don't know details aside from the fact that she lived. So these days, we're seeing criminals get arrested and released, just bam, bam. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, how bad the crime was. If you think for a second that taking away rights for citizens like me is going to stop the criminals, you're high and you're a part of the problem. So my point is, and here I am getting worked up, but my point is that we have people over here and people over here who are just like seeing what the TV says, seeing what media says, seeing what the movie stars say, which you guys, they're paid, they're bought and paid for, and they live their lives the way they want to. They have protection, they get to do what they want, and they just tell us what we should be doing because they make money off of it. They don't give a crap. So again, how many times can I say turn off your TV? Turn off your TV. Anyway, we're supposed to believe these little sound bites. We're supposed to, be swayed by all this fear porn and then the things that the celebrities are telling us. Meanwhile, we're not allowed to have conversations about it. Real conversations, real facts and figures, real statistics are actually censored. And people like me could share a story I just did and I'll get blasted. So I'm here to say, let's knock that crap off, come in the middle, meet in the middle, and have conversations about it. Because there's not a lot of common sense anymore. And I think that common sense is born again through understanding and conversation. I really do. So here I am, a holistic health coach. I focus really on keto with women. I'm a fitness instructor. Why am I talking about this? Well, my worlds have collided, as with everyone else's. You just might not be admitting it or realizing it. But within the past few years, when you look at, there's this concept of the 7 mantles of society, the 7 mountains of society. And it's kind of a spiritual perspective, but they're the mountain of family, economy, government, education, media, celebration, spirituality, and they've all collided. And the reason they've collided, in my opinion and from my observation, is because people are trying to take all of that from us and claim, put their stake on each of those mountains and make us do whatever they want. So what I see people doing is one of two things. Either at each other, which is a distraction, or they're just oh, I'm just gonna, watch my shows, and I'm just gonna do my little whatever makes me happy, and I that stresses me out. So those are both sides of the same coin, and we need to come together. We need to be able to talk about things. We need to take some action. And I don't mean that you have to, I like to go to certain rallies and things, and I don't mean you have to do anything of that, although it's great. It's great to connect with people who are very like-minded, and you would actually be surprised with who is like-minded, because we're coming together and wanting our rights back. We're wanting to be able to be a sovereign people who make our own decisions, who are not controlled by government, who are not controlled by people who have more money than us, who are not controlled by the stars, who are not controlled by people who are bought off, or the pharmaceutical industry. It's all the same thing. And so again, my point is saying, we have this side, we have that side, but really when we stop and have conversations, I promise you, we want the same thing. It may look a little different because we're different people. Well, we need to be able to have those differences. And I also would argue that what, quote, they are trying to do is make us all the same and take away those differences. So we're being manipulated by things like #kindness. And in the midst of that, I'll give you an example. My son, I pulled him from school because of so much of the garbage that was going on. We're big about, if you have other ways of living than us or whatever, who cares? As long as you are a good person, right? As long as you're being respectful to me, I'm going to be respectful to you. That is not what was happening at the school. There are certain kids that were, in certain categories, I will say, that were having all sorts of rights. They could do whatever they wanted. In fact, they could throw a freaking fit and the whole entire class has to exit the room. There wasn't a lot of learning going on there. And then you bring up the sex ed, and I'm just talking regular sex ed, I'm not even talking the different like gender stuff or whatever. I'm saying the sex ed was out of control, and kids were being taught that things that they don't need to know. So essentially, in the school system, I'm seeing this thing where it's like everybody be nice to each other, #kindness. But what it's doing is we're not going to talk about what's actually happening. We're not going to, certain people can act a certain way and bully certain kids and take up the time and energy of everybody to the point where nobody's learning, but #kindness. We're going to be PC and all the things. So I'm just tired of it. And my child deserves more than that, deserves better than that. So I'm saying all of that to come back to my main point of we can be on, quote, different sides, but on the same team. And I really would love to see more of that. I have been very guilty of, fighting within myself of, okay, I'm talking about health, and low carb and how good that is for you. And I really believe that. And I love teaching people that. But then there's this other pool of holy crap, what is happening? I feel like, the world is like this fireball right now, and we have either people fighting, and some of it doesn't even make sense to me, and it's stupid, and I feel like you guys are not even looking at what's really going on, and then you have other people who are like, la la la, whatever, and it's all driving me insane. And for me as a holistic health coach, it's kind of like, do I speak to these people or do I speak to these people? And I would love for everybody to kind of come together and be on the same page in terms of it's okay to talk about it. Now, I realize that we're not really allowed to, but I feel like we need to anyway. I feel like we need to push that a little more. And in certain ways, we are seeing that with some social media. I do celebrate the fact that some of the censorship is stopping. If you are on one side and you're celebrating another side being censored, shame on you. Shame on you. You are a hypocrite, because just because somebody says something that you don't agree with, that is so wrong for you to celebrate censorship. That is not an American way or value. And, we should have the right to say things and disagree. It is extremely immature. It is extremely closed-minded for you to sit there and celebrate that another side or another perspective was shut down. Shame on you. So let's move away from that. Let's come together. And I'm not saying that it's always going to be clean or easy, but and I've had conversations that aren't clean or easy, but I always try to remember what's the bigger picture? What does this maybe specific relationship mean to me if I'm talking to somebody that has a different perspective than me? And remember, you guys, bottom line, these people are getting fed certain things and these people are getting fed other things. And when I'm saying that, I mean by the media, I mean by their circle of people, all the things, and it's by design. So you need to choose to step out of that. You need to choose to meet in the middle. You need to choose to turn off the bullshit. So I'm going to just end with more of an empowering message. I mean, I do feel like that is empowering to choose to do things like that. But, we are stepping into wintertime. I'm hearing these things around of certain illnesses coming about again. And you need to choose to take care of yourself, to have strong, optimal health, to not get taken down by fear porn. I highly recommend, moving your body. I feel like people this time of year just start to go into hibernation mode. Move your body. I don't care if you turn something on, there's lots of free stuff online, a little video, turn the music on, dance. I don't care. I don't care what you do. Go to the gym, go on walks. My big fluff of a dog requires walks every single day. So unless it is like severely raining, we don't go. We go out when it's pretty darn wet. But unless it's like so bad that I feel like we're just going to be washed away, unless it's like that, we go. And I don't always feel like it, but I'm always thankful. And that is so good for your mental health. It's so good for just your body, for getting your heart pumping. The worst thing you can do is just like lock yourself inside, just be eaten alive by all the crap going on. There's a lot. I mean, I have been in tears, over some of the stuff going on, specifically with our children. The thing is to not turn a blind eye, you guys. I mean, I really feel like that's one of the biggest reasons we're where we're at, is that people just don't want to rock the boat. They want to be like that hashtag kindness person. They don't want to be controversial. And then what we see is like our kids are suffering for it. So you might want to just ignore it all because it's uncomfortable. Well, you are handing it to your children and to their children, and it will grow exponentially for them. So it's pretty selfish. I'm opting to not do that. I'm fighting because of my son. So that's where I'm going to leave it. You will be hearing more from me now that I'm like more settled. And I really do believe we need to be taking care of ourselves right now. Again, I'm, keto carnivore, and right now it's like sugar season, all the sugar. And, I know it's not fun to not have all the things, but you will feel so much better about yourself if you're eating well, really, really, truly. And I want to share with you guys, I make this body butter. So if you follow me at all, you know that I'm like all into toxin-free living. That's another resource or tool for yourself. Ditching the toxins, it really can boost your optimal health so much. And so I make this. Tallow is purified beef fat, which might sound weird if you've never used it before, but it is most like our own skin at a cellular level. Therefore, it absorbs better and heals better. I can't tell you how many people have come to me and said, you'll see it some in the reviews, but a lot of people have just come to me and said, oh my gosh, like my skin was this, that, or the other, eczema, whatever, and nothing else has worked for me. And it is not magic. It's simply because of what I just said. It's science. It is what it is, So we're inundated with plant-based everything, and don't even get me started. I mean, I've already talked about that, and I will talk about that more. But anyway, so you can find this. I will link below, and I do have a code for a discount for podcast / YouTube listeners, and I will have that below also, because I don't have it in front of me, but I have an Etsy store. So this one is candy cane, which is peppermint vanilla. I have like my holiday scents out right now. So you can find me at thatvibrantlife.com, Facebook, That Vibrant Life, and then Instagram is _vibrantlife. So feel free to reach out. Again, I mean, I really feel like community is so important. Having these conversations is so important. And have a wonderful Thanksgiving. All right. Bye, guys.